Walking away is the strongest move you'll ever make. And today, I'm going to show you why. Not because she begged you to stay, not because she finally saw your worth, but because you finally remembered who you are. You're tired of walking on eggshells, tired of being the one who always fixes things, tired of being blamed, questioned, tested, and never appreciated. She crossed the line too many times, and you're done pretending it's love. Because when a woman stops respecting you, staying is not strength, it's self-destruction. Type, "I walk with power" in the comments if you're ready to transform your life. Number 1. You no longer entertain drama. When you walk away, the first thing you kill is the cycle of drama. You stop answering calls that start fights. You stop explaining yourself to someone who doesn't want peace. They want control, attention, submission, and obedience. You start noticing that most of the conversations weren't about resolving anything. They were tests, traps, rehearsed chaos meant to destabilize your emotions just enough so you stay insecure, responsive, and uncertain. Every time you answered her with logic, she replied with emotion. Every time you wanted understanding, she gave you confusion. And the moment you gave her an inch of clarity, she twisted it into another reason to blame you. This is how drama survives, through access. When you were always available, always explaining, always chasing her emotional state like it was your job to fix her mood swings, she knew she owned you. And ownership kills attraction. So when you stop playing that role, when you start protecting your peace instead of begging for hers, you begin the transformation most never make. You move from reaction to direction. You no longer text back when she sends one-word messages after ignoring you all day. You no longer argue with someone who's emotionally invested in being misunderstood. You stop being a participant in chaos disguised as connection. And most importantly, you start healing. Because now you can finally hear your own thoughts without noise. That inner voice you ignored for months, maybe years, the one that told you something was off, is now louder than ever. And for once, you're listening. You start asking yourself questions you've avoided. Why am I the only one trying? Why do I always feel like I'm one mistake away from being punished? Why am I exhausted in a relationship that's supposed to be home, not war? And those questions lead to clarity, and clarity leads to action. Walking away is not just about physical distance. It's psychological freedom. It's deleting her number and not remembering it. It's removing her from your social media without needing her to notice. It's not stalking her stories hoping she misses you. It's not caring if she does. That's when the growth begins. You start journaling your thoughts instead of texting her. You hit the gym not to prove anything, but because your body is now your responsibility. You begin managing your money better because you no longer waste it trying to buy love from someone who only wanted power. You pick up books, audiobooks, skills, passions, because your mental bandwidth is no longer hijacked by drama. You remember who you were before the chaos. And slowly, day by day, you become someone new, stronger, wiser, colder where you need to be, warmer where it counts, not emotionally available to toxicity, but deeply connected to your purpose. You stop trying to win a woman's approval and start earning your own. The man you were when you stayed in the drama was surviving. The man you're becoming now is thriving. And when she finally realizes that the power she had over you is gone, she'll test you one more time. She'll reach out with guilt, fake apologies, manipulative kindness, or distant curiosity. But you'll respond with the most dangerous weapon, silence backed by peace. Not because you're trying to get a reaction, but because you've outgrown the need to explain your absence. You stop checking if she saw your story. You stop creating fake chances in your mind that she'll change. You stop holding on to memories and instead study the patterns. You see her behavior for what it was, not love, but control dressed up as affection. You don't hate her, you just don't need her. And that is the day you win. Not because she's gone, but because the old you who needed her is gone too. And what replaces that version of you is someone unrecognizable to her, unreachable, untouchable, unbothered. You don't run from the pain anymore. You use it. You transmute it into progress. You sharpen your discipline, your body, your boundaries. You stop romanticizing the past and start engineering your future. You don't drown in loneliness. You use solitude like a weapon. You become silent not because you have nothing to say, but because you finally know what's worth saying and what isn't. You no longer need closure. You are the closure. You realize that every fight, every tear, every manipulated emotion was a lesson, and that lesson gave you the blueprint to never fall into that trap again. You don't become bitter. You become unbreakable. You treat peace as your responsibility. And when you reclaim your peace by walking away from what fights against it, everything begins to shift. Your focus sharpens and your mind clears. That's where real transformation begins. And if you're ready to take this even further, to not just feel free, but to stay free, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint is for you. This isn't just a book, it's a weapon, a timeless guide rooted in unshakable Stoic principles that will completely reshape how you show up in love, in life, and in silence. It's not just words, it's a philosophy that teaches you to walk with power, choose with clarity, and never lose yourself again. And now, it's finally available in audiobook form. You can listen while you walk, while you jog, while you rebuild the man she underestimated. And the best part? It's yours forever. No subscriptions. Just lifetime access to the kind of truth they never taught you, but always needed. The link is in the comments. Choose yourself today. Number 2. She can no longer manipulate you. She knew what strings to pull. She cried when you distanced. She got sweet when you went cold. She knew how to draw you back just enough so she could push you away again. Manipulation thrives in confusion, but when you walk, you leave her powerless. She tests your limits, not because she cares about your boundaries, but to measure how much she can get away with. Every silent treatment, every insult disguised as a joke, every moment she flips the blame back on you when you express hurt. It's all calculated, not always consciously, but deeply ingrained from knowing what works. And what's worked is you. You, being afraid to lose her. You, being too loyal to let go. You, hoping your patience would make her respect you. That ends now. When you walk, really walk, not for a reaction, but for your evolution, her power evaporates. She can no longer use tears like tools or silence like weapons. She can no longer shape your mood with her tone or change your decisions with her attitude. She no longer holds the key to your emotions because you took it back and swallowed it. You realize now the games only worked because you were still on the board. You realize the mind games felt real because you kept trying to win a relationship that was always one-sided. You realize your guilt was never yours to carry. It was a leash. And when you drop it, you start breathing again. This is how clarity begins, not when she apologizes, but when you stop needing one. You stop negotiating your needs. You stop tolerating fake accountability. You stop calling dysfunction chemistry. You stop waiting for someone to change when all they've done is show you who they really are. It's not your job to fix her, heal her, or teach her how to love. Your only job is to protect your peace. And peace doesn't argue, it doesn't beg, it doesn't chase. It walks, quietly, permanently. You walk not to punish her, but to liberate yourself. You walk not to teach her a lesson, but to stop repeating one. You walk because love without respect is just bondage dressed in romance. You walk because you finally understand that any love that costs you your identity, your confidence, your purpose, is not love at all. You walk because you're done being the emotional crutch for someone who only limps when you try to leave. You walk because you're done living in confusion and calling it commitment. You walk because the version of you that stayed loyal to dysfunction no longer exists. You've outgrown begging for breadcrumbs. You've outgrown decoding mixed signals. You've outgrown believing loyalty means suffering in silence. The moment you walk, the manipulation collapses. She will try again. She will reach out, confused by your calm. She'll test the water with just checking in texts. She'll dangle hope. She'll act sweet. But you won't bite. Not because you hate her, but because you finally love yourself. That's the day you break the cycle, not with words but with silence, not with revenge but with rebuilding. That's the day you stop being the person she could manipulate and start being the man no one can play again. Number 3, your respect for yourself grows. When you walk away from someone who doesn't value you, something shifts, not just in the relationship, but in you. Every step you take away from disrespect adds weight to your self-worth. You're no longer tolerating being overlooked, sidelined, or silenced. You're no longer stretching your soul to fit inside someone's shallow version of love. You begin to respect your own time again. You begin to respect your silence, your effort, your sacrifices. You stop giving people the power to destroy your mood, your mission, or your momentum. That's real growth, not in words, but in actions. Because growth is when you set boundaries without shaking, when you say no without guilt, when you walk away from someone you still care about, because you care about yourself more. That's what real self-respect looks like, and it doesn't happen overnight. It builds with every hard decision, every ignored message, every time you choose solitude over settling. You realize you've been breaking your own heart by staying loyal to confusion. You've been betraying yourself by calling manipulation love. You've been disrespecting your own journey by staying stuck with someone who only meets you halfway when you're already at the finish line. But now, you're done. You're done waiting to be chosen by someone who never even saw your value. You're done proving your worth to someone who treats it like an inconvenience. You're done fighting for love in a battlefield you never agreed to be in. You're done being the one who cares more, gives more, and loses more. You don't need closure. You need discipline. You don't need validation. You need solitude. You don't need to be understood by her. You need to understand yourself, that you are enough, that you've always been enough, that her inability to love you right says nothing about your capacity to be loved. Walking away is the first time you tell the world and yourself that you will never again accept less than you give, that your love is no longer a discount item, that your energy is sacred, that your time is expensive, and if someone wants access to you, they pay full price, with loyalty, respect, and consistency. Anything less is not rejection, it's a refund. You grow in silence, in discipline, in saying no to what once tempted you. You grow by healing, by journaling, by building your craft. You grow when your focus returns, when your body strengthens, when your income increases, when your peace expands. And all of that starts with one decision. I will no longer fight for what fights against me. That's what self-respect feels like. Not pride, but peace. Not ego, but wisdom. Not bitterness, but clarity. And once you taste that version of yourself, the one who no longer begs, chases, explains, you never go back. You can't. Because you've seen what it looks like to live without anxiety, to love without conditions, to sleep without checking your phone first. You've seen the other side. And now you'll do anything to stay there. That's the real transformation. You don't change for her. You change for you. And from this point forward, your standard is simple. If peace has to be sacrificed, the answer is no. Number 4, you become unreachable. You become unreachable the moment you no longer need validation. when you stop seeking closure, when your peace becomes non-negotiable and her approval irrelevant, when your silence isn't a reaction, it's a decision, when your time becomes so valuable that access to you is no longer free, when her old tricks fall flat because the man who used to respond is gone, and not in some angry way, but in a calm, grounded, absolute way, where she finally realizes that your emotions aren't on her leash anymore because you don't pick up the phone, you don't reply to games, and you don't entertain confusion disguised as connection. And now she's faced with the one thing she never expected. Your absence not as a tactic, but as a lifestyle, not as a punishment, but as proof that you've evolved beyond the person who tolerated the cycle, beyond the man who explained himself over and over, beyond the one who let guilt, hope, and chemistry override logic and dignity. And when you reach this level, you don't just become unavailable to her. You become unreachable to every version of yourself that allowed the disrespect to continue. You're no longer stuck in the same conversations, defending your tone, defending your intentions, apologizing for how she feels while ignoring what she does. And the power isn't in the silence, it's in the shift, the internal upgrade that no longer allows emotional chaos to be a part of your life rhythm. And it's subtle at first. You stop checking if she watched your story, you stop rereading the messages, you stop wondering what you did wrong, because now you realize it's not about what you did, it's about what you allowed. And that changes everything, because you don't just cut her off, you cut off the supply of energy that kept the dysfunction alive, and when that faucet turns off, she scrambles. She sends the "I miss you" texts. She posts to make you jealous. She plays nice just long enough to test if you've truly changed. And this is where most men relapse, not because they want her back, but because they miss the illusion of connection. But you're done trading peace for pain, done trading structure for drama, done trading purpose for attention. You're too focused now, too deep into your mission, too invested in your growth to respond to breadcrumbs or bait. And you know this. When you go back, nothing changes. It just gets harder to leave next time, so you stop going back, not out of pride, but out of clarity. Not because she's the worst person ever, but because she's no longer your person at all, because the version of you who chose her didn't have the standards you now live by. And when you become unreachable, you unlock a new reality. Your productivity spikes, your money grows, your sleep improves, your circle tightens, your body sharpens, your spirit calms. And she notices, they all notice, but it's too late, because what was once acceptable now disgusts you. What once entertained you now bores you. What once felt like love now feels like a trap, and you carry yourself with a different posture, not arrogant but certain, because now you know. Being available to the wrong energy costs too much, so you protect your access like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does, and you learn to say no effortlessly, to block guiltlessly, to walk alone peacefully, and you realize solitude isn't punishment. It's where men become unbreakable, where you find your direction again, where you reintroduce yourself to the life you put on hold, trying to save someone who was never going to meet you halfway. And in that space, you become someone she doesn't recognize anymore, not because you've changed, but because you've finally become who you were always meant to be. And now, she can no longer reach you, not physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, because her access expired the moment you remembered your value. Number 5, you regain your peace. You regain your peace the day you stop confusing chaos with connection, the moment you realize that constantly checking your phone, rereading the last thing she said, second-guessing every word, walking on eggshells to avoid her moods, none of that is love, none of that is healthy, none of that is sustainable. And while you were in it, it felt normal, because dysfunction normalized itself so slowly, you didn't even notice how far you drifted from yourself. How much of your joy started depending on whether she replied or didn't. How your sleep was light because you expected another guilt trip at midnight. How your creativity died under the stress of trying to keep her happy while you were slowly breaking inside. How your mornings started with anxiety and your nights ended with self-blame. And all of this for what? For love. For a connection that cost your focus, drained your ambition, buried your masculinity, and turned you into someone you didn't even like anymore. And what's worse is you knew it deep down, but you stayed hoping things would shift, but they didn't. And now here you are, slowly realizing that peace is not something someone else gives you. It's something you choose the moment you stop begging for it from someone who benefits from your lack of it. And peace looks like silence, not the awkward kind, but the kind where your mind is clear, your chest is light, and your phone isn't a source of stress anymore. Where your evenings are yours again, where your thoughts are no longer a battlefield of over-analysis, where you don't have to pretend you're fine while slowly dying inside from being unseen, unheard, and unloved. And the day you walk away is the day the healing begins. Not instantly, but gradually, day by day, moment by moment, you feel your power come back, not loud, but steady, like a man who's building something again, himself. And that's the foundation peace gives you. It gives you yourself back, the version of you that doesn't need to explain why he wants peace, the version of you that wakes up early because he wants to, not because he's anxious, the version of you that no longer sacrifices his routines to stay up arguing or proving a point that never lands. Because now you're not interested in being understood by someone who only listens to argue. You're not interested in debating someone who's emotionally invested in misunderstanding you. And that's when peace becomes more than a word. It becomes your standard, and anything or anyone that interrupts it loses access, not because you're bitter, but because you're finally aligned with the truth. If it costs your mental clarity, your emotional stability, your physical energy, your time, it's too expensive. And most men won't know peace until they've known what it's like to live without it. And maybe that's what it took. Maybe you had to be broken to appreciate what stillness feels like. Maybe you had to be lied to, gaslit, manipulated and drained to understand that love doesn't look like exhaustion. And now you start to move differently. Now your days are structured, your goals are clear, your phone is quieter, and so is your mind. And while the temptation to check on her will come, you don't. Not because you don't care, but because you care more about what you're building, because you've started reading again, lifting again, eating better, showing up for yourself in ways you used to reserve for her. And in that space you finally feel what she couldn't give you. Rest, clarity, respect, consistency, not because she had to provide it, but because your peace was never her responsibility. It was yours. And now that you've taken it back, nothing can come close unless it adds to it. And that's the quiet shift, the slow rebuild, the subtle confidence that returns when you're no longer arguing, no longer hoping she gets it, no longer waiting for the version of her that only showed up when she felt like losing you. And now your peace becomes so obvious, so real, that it's felt before it's explained, and people start treating you differently. Not because they changed, but because you did, because your energy no longer begs, because your voice no longer shakes, because your boundaries are real, and now you live by one rule. If it doesn't feel like peace, it doesn't stay. And the most powerful part is, you don't need to announce this, you just live it. And from that moment forward, you are no longer a man who survives chaos. You are the man who chooses calm, chooses focus, chooses himself. Number 6, you grow without her. Growth doesn't happen when you're constantly explaining your worth. It doesn't happen when you're begging for reciprocity. It doesn't happen when you're always recovering from disrespect dressed up as a misunderstanding. It doesn't happen when your identity revolves around getting someone to finally recognize your value. when you've already been showing up with it every single day. And no matter how much you try, how kind you are, how many second chances you give, the truth is simple. People don't change because you love them harder. They change because they choose to. And when she doesn't, you're left in a relationship that stunts you, where you're applauded for staying silent and punished for speaking truth, where you're rewarded for showing up as less than yourself so she can feel more secure, where you're constantly dimming who you are to protect someone else's comfort. And that's where most men lose themselves. They call it love, but it's survival, it's guilt, it's obligation. It's the emotional leash that tightens every time you try to stand up for yourself, and eventually you forget who you were. Before the apology cycles, the emotional withdrawal, the inconsistent affection before the version of you that adjusted his whole life to keep her happy. And that's why when you walk away, the pain is sharp. Not because you lost her, but because you realize how long you've abandoned yourself. And that realization is what cracks you open, and now you sit with it in the quiet. The long nights, the urge to go back, the fear that maybe this was your last chance at love. But that's the lie she made. You believe that if you leave, you lose everything, but what you actually lose is the weight that's been slowing your growth down for years. You lose the distraction, the emotional roller coaster, the self-doubt, the fear of saying no. You lose the confusion of never knowing if you're loved or tolerated. And now in that space comes clarity, the kind that hurts before it heals, because you see the full picture. You see how many times you accepted crumbs because you were afraid to eat alone. How many times you allowed disrespect to be repackaged as passion. How many years of your life were spent teaching someone how to treat you while they kept choosing not to learn. And now you're done. And when you finally close the door, not slam it, but lock it permanently. You create the environment necessary for growth. The discipline returns, the drive sharpens, the energy rebuilds, because you're no longer split between fighting for peace and building your future. Now you're just building, and it shows in the way you speak to yourself, in the way you set your schedule, in the way you stop explaining your boundaries and just enforce them, in the way your room gets cleaner, your body gets stronger, your money gets stacked in silence. And all of it starts because you made one decision to stop chasing potential and start chasing purpose. And when you do that, life opens up. You find time for what matters. You start showing up differently, not just externally, but internally. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth because you live it daily in how you move, in how you speak, in how you rest. And even if she comes back, and many do, they always do not because they love you, but because they feel your absence, not because they changed, but because they feel your evolution. And when she does, you won't be cold, but you will be clear, because the man she knew is gone. Not dead, but transformed. And the new you doesn't entertain what you had to heal from. The new you doesn't play with fire and then complain about the heat. The new you is focused and clean and calm and consistent. And the irony is that now that you've become everything she once said she wanted, she can't reach you because you no longer operate in confusion. Your presence is no longer a reward to be earned by chaos. It's something you protect because now your standard is simple. If it doesn't nourish you, build you, or align with you, it doesn't deserve access to you. And that's growth, not in words, but in the way you wake up with purpose instead of panic, in the way you plan your week around your mission, not around moods, in the way you trust yourself again after years of second-guessing, and most of all, in the way you no longer seek love that requires you to abandon yourself to keep it. You grow without her because you finally realize you were never meant to stay where your peace was constantly taxed. You were meant to use that pain to evolve into someone she could no longer manipulate, confuse, or delay. And now you've outgrown the chaos, the cycles, the talking stages, the fake healing, the temporary affection, the conditional loyalty. Now you've outgrown the version of you that needed love to feel enough, because now you know you are enough, and love isn't something you earn by shrinking. It's something that finds you when you stand tall and never again settle for someone who needs you to suffer in silence, to feel safe in the relationship. If you're tired of being the one who gives everything and gets nothing but confusion in return, this is your wake-up call. Society doesn't want you thinking like this. They want you weak, reactive, chasing people who disrespect you, doubting your worth, and calling it love. But that ends now. The Stoic relationship. Blueprint is the truth they never wanted you to find, packed with timeless Stoic principles that'll transform how you think, act, and love, starting today. And now it's in audiobook form, so you can absorb this life-changing clarity while walking, training, or reclaiming your mind. If you're ready to never beg for peace again, comment, "I choose clarity," like this video, and subscribe to help this truth reach the men still stuck in silence. The link to the audiobook is in the comments. Don't wait. Grab it now before this kind of truth gets silenced.